fire is my first. Fire.
We're just saying elements now.
Yeah, I almost want to say water.
Water, wind,
and then earth.
Nice.
Hi, both of you. Thanks so much for your time today. Yosha, was Rand the only character you wanted to play in this, or was this the only audition that you tried out for Wheel of Time?
Oh, definitely, yeah. No, Rand was the only character I was auditioning for. But when we were auditioning, actually, we did not know for what character we were auditioning. They had secret names. So I was auditioning for Ridhan.
I was Peter, I think.
The only thing we knew was that it was the Wheel of Time and that it did feel important.
So can we go to Nathaniel next, please? Thank you.
Yes, this question is for Yosha and Marcus. Wheel of Time has a very passionate fan base. Did you feel the pressure of living up to expectations when playing the characters?
I think at the start, you kind of realize how big the community is, and it's a little bit daunting. But then I think as an actor, you realize that there's already an established, fan base there, and there's people who are kind of waiting for it to come out, and they've been waiting decades for it to come out. So, as an actor, you just want people to see what work you're doing. So I think it comes from any scrutiny at the start, I think comes from passion. They want the show to do really well. So I think you just use that to galvanize you that, there's already a really passionate fan base there, which is really, really exciting.
Yeah, I agree. I think it all comes from a good place. I think it's support and as an actor, it should motivate you in a good way, I try to stay away stay away from that pressure, because often I don't think it's good for creativity, and I just go to work and try to find the essence of Rand every day on set, and in my preparation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
So next, if we go to Big Gold Media with Najir.
Yes. Good evening, fellas. So that's a very interesting answer from the previous question, because I wanted to know, when you look at the two characters that you all playing, the main characters, they're absolutely the focal point of this series. Can you talk about the journey that's ahead for these characters? And let's kind of aim towards a psychological standpoint in regards to embodying those characters.
I guess at first, it's we start in the Two Rivers, and then Moiraine comes to this village, and the whole lives are being destroyed, and they have to go on this mission they never ever signed up for, but it's their duty, and they very soon understand that it becomes their responsibility, and that they will never be able to go back to their old lives. And I think the first journey is from season 1 is really a matter of survival and trying to protect your friends and the people you love. And it's a whole introduction to the world of the Wheel of Time. As the audience is being introduced to the world of the Wheel of Time, the characters are too, everything is very new to them, because most of their lives they've stayed in this little village called the Two Rivers.
Bang on, man. Nice.
Okay, so next can we go to Adam from the So Wizard podcast?
Given the whole journey, and it is such a fantastical world, for you guys as actors, was there any training that you either had to or got to do to prepare for it, combat-wise or moving around the world?
Yeah, I think when we initially started, when we landed in Prague, we had like a month of kind of almost like a military-esque kind of training camp where we did stunts in the morning for a few hours, and then we went to do horse riding later in the day, it was kind of, quite physically sort of tasking, but it was a really good way to bond and to learn those new skills, because I think that first episode, that first block, really, it kind of asks quite a lot, stunt wise and horse riding and all those kind of stuff. So it was kind of a blessing that you got to learn all those new skills, really.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
So now to Catherine from Nerd Caliber.
Hi guys. I've loved the books for a long time, so this is very exciting. If you had 3 words to describe the aesthetic of the Wheel of Time, or at least the first episode, let's say, what would they be?
3 words. Action.
Oh my goodness.
Deliver.
Oh no, I asked the thinker, I'm sorry.
So you threw this to me.
3 words of aesthetic
For the first episode.
for the first episode. That's a really good question.
This is too good a question.
It's almost like, give me 1 week to think about it. I'll come back.
I'd say
We can move on, it's fine. I'm okay with
it's a really good
that.
question. I would like to answer.
I want to say destructive is one.
Destructive is one.
Something.
I guess it's like
Sorry, guys.
fire is my first. Fire.
We're just saying elements now.
Yeah, I almost want to say water.
Water, wind,
and then earth.
Nice. We just went through. Yeah, that wasn't what you asked.
But it does. I can't explain it, but it does. I think it does make sense eventually.
Yeah.
I feel like that was terrible.
After seeing it, it makes sense. So I'm good.
Okay, thank you. We just said elements.
Fire, water, earth.
Nice. Wicked.
So if we go back to Jamie.
Marcus, Perrin is especially a difficult character to bring to screen just because he's kind of a quiet guy with, a lot of internal monologue. Was that challenging for you?
Yeah, I mean, I spoke to Rafe, the showrunner, at the start, and how you kind of translate that to screen. In the books, he has whole kind of point of view chapters of what's just going on in his head. But I think in the show, we've kind of added a few kind of relationships for him and a few things that kind of help translate his kind of behavior later on onto screen. And I think Rafe understood that there's a subtlety to his performance, and just looks and gestures and small kind of behavioral mannerisms can say a lot with him. So it's quite nice to have a character who, is kind of a main character there, but also kind of is a deep thinker, and there's a lot going on without saying too much, which is quite cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Back to Nathaniel.
This is going to piggyback off of Adam's question. You talked earlier about preparing for the stunts. Wheel of Time is very dense in regards to the characters. How did you prepare for them character-wise, like emotionally?
I guess when we started, we started with some really well-written scripts, and I think that was the main source, and that's where, also in the auditioning process, we didn't have any context. We didn't know what we were auditioning for, so we could only go with our intuition. And I guess the scripts always felt as home in that preparation, besides of everything that was around it, like the books and everything that's available online. And I think the rest just adds on to that preparation. And the books, also help emotionally. It just gives you a better understanding of who your character is, and what his state of mind is in the different bits in the story, basically.
Okay, back to Najir.
Yeah, talking about your fellow cast members, Rosamund Pike, very decorated actress. What has been like sharing scenes with her, and what's been some of the, should we say, behind the scenes stuff that you've learned from being on set with her?
Yeah, she's amazing, man. She's been a real leader on this project. Her dedication to the role, and her dedication to the things within Moiraine's world, like she kind of set the tone really for channeling, which is a huge thing of how people use magic in the show. She kind of really went out there and spent the time to kind of develop that whole kind of language around that, which everyone who comes in kind of has learned their own movements from it. But she was a wicked man. I remember the first day we had the table read, she kind of turned to me and she was like, "Oh, I'm really, really nervous." And it was just so nice to kind of see, her CV's ridiculous, but I think it was kind of a new experience for her as well. So she's kind of, it very much has felt that she's been on this journey with us, but she's been there the whole step of the way. And when we got shut down through COVID, she was, like I said, winning Golden Globes, but still kind of on our Zoom calls talking to us. in the evening. So it's been amazing to work with her.
And I guess that's, to add on that, I guess that's interesting to see with such, doesn't happen that often that you meet such actors that are so brilliant. But I guess what such brilliant actors have in common is that they truly love their work. You know, they're that professional as Rosamund, and that dedicated.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, man.
So back to Adam.
So you had mentioned that you did your kind of boot camp in Prague. Where else did you get to go to shoot to get those huge sceneries in that fantasy world?
Yeah, so we went to, I mean, we've shot pretty much everywhere in the Czech Republic.
Everywhere.
Every forest, I think we've probably touched now. But we went to Slovenia,
Croatia.
and to Croatia. Slovenia offered like beautiful kind of mountainous kind of landscapes with this turquoise water that we were riding horses through. And then Croatia had almost like, I don't know, like mountainous or desert-like kind of qualities.
Yes.
Which kind of just reflected how expansive the world is in the books. So it's really cool that we've been able to honor these cool different places that the characters go to by actually going to different countries, really.
I guess because of, I think they even scheduled more locations for us, but then COVID, hit the world, and that, we had to, the production had to be very creative and find other locations. And it was interesting to see that some of the locations they built on set, they found that they were actually better than the locations they had planned to go to. Yeah.
Thank you again.
So last question from Catherine.
A lot of stress. So what part of your personalities do you think you bring out in the characters that you portray?
Nice. Your questions are really good. We're just terrible. They are really good questions.
Yeah.
I think there is an introspective nature that I think I resonate with Perrin. I think he's a bit of a deep thinker. I think maybe when I was a bit younger, I was a bit more like that. But I think he has a quality to kind of think things through and be quite considerate that I think is that I resonate with quite a lot.
I guess what I learned of Rand, and what resonates with me, that he figures quite early on in his life that love is not dependency, and it's not jealousy, and it's not insecurity, and that really resonates with me.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.